Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Just Pam Knitting Podcast. My name is Pam, and I'm coming to you from the beautiful Edmonton in Alberta, Canada. It's a beautiful fall day today, and just lovely colors out there and whatnot. It has been cold the last couple days. Had some snow in Edmonton, not as much as some of the more southern part of Alberta, but we've been very lucky. Anyways, I have been watching podcasts for about the last 4 months, knitting ones, and they have just exploded my knitting life. I did not realize that this community was out there, and I am so thankful for it because I do feel kind of bad sometimes for my family. They have to listen to me drone on about what I'm knitting now, what I plan to knit, projects that I have in lineup. I can get a tad little dry. However, my family, I have 3 kids. Evelyn is 10, Lydia is 8, and Henry is 6. They love it when I knit something up for them. So there has been the occasional headbands, and I'm trying to get some stuffies out there. I do crochet those instead of knitting. I find them a little bit faster. Maybe the next podcast I'll bring out one of them that I actually did finish. That was for Christmas last year. Anyways, so it's kind of nice to clue into this knitting podcast world because I just feel like the knitting podcaster people, they get me and I get them. And so it's kind of like sitting there talking with my friends while I'm washing dishes or making dinner or folding laundry, talking to my friends about knitting and what's out there that we like to knit. And they inspire me to get outside of my knitting box and try new things. And I do say that my family, can get a little glazed over when I talk about knitting. However, my oldest has picked up the knitting needles and she has started and she gets it. She gets why I get so giggly about yarn and want to cuddle it and enjoy it. So she's getting there. My other daughter, who's 8, she does crochet. She does a lot of crochet chain work. And so we just have to get the next step with her as well. Anywho, so I really was inspired to start this while I was watching a podcast called Pinfeathers and Purls by Candace, another fellow Albertan down in Calgary who's doing a podcast with Yoshi the Bird. Love Candace. But she had a thread out that Ask Me Anything thread on her Ravelry group, which we will try to get something like that set up. Someone asking, should I just start podcasting? And she was like, sure, why not? Go for it. We're a lovely open community. We love other podcasters, very welcoming, and yeah. So she basically just said, give it a go, see what you think, and go on from that. And so a couple nights later, my husband, he is a hunting fisherman, and he also owns a production company called Story Chaser Productions, and he's got the gear. So he basically said to me one night while we were packing up his latest deer that he brought home for our family, he's like, I have the gear. If you'd like to do this, you're more than welcome to try it out. So having that support from him, I just got so excited. I showed him all the podcasters that I watched and what I liked about them and what I would like to incorporate into my podcast. Obviously, I had been thinking about it a lot. So with this podcast, I do feel like I'm in good company. There's a fantastic group of people out there worldwide, not only just in Canada, not only in Alberta. There's quite a few of us. So even in Edmonton, there's quite a few podcasters. So I'm really excited to be in that group of people out there. I do have some goals that I'd like to do in this podcast. I would like to knit a sweater, an adult sweater. I've never really done that before. You will see right here, I did try. This is a sweater for my son. It's from the Charmed Knits Projects by Allison Hansel. And she has a Weasley sweater in here. And so my son, his name is Henry, and I thought, let's make this for him. Well, I started it about a year ago. My son has grown, And so it was on the small side. I'm just going to say that. It's on the small side. The neckline I have knit backwards. I went back to the pattern. I read it wrong. It's completely wrong. So I didn't know what to do with this. Also, picking up stitches along the arm, I've never really done that before. And so I had seen on a YouTube tutorial that when you are picking up stitches that you should pick up 3 and skip 1, pick up 3 and skip 1. Well, when you're doing arms, it's you have to follow the instructions to the T. So his sleeve started out great, but when you did the decreases, it got smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and so it was really hard for him to put his arm through there. So what am I going to do with this sweater? I don't know what to do with this sweater. So one daughter said to me, just pack it up and put it away. It'll be fine, Mommy. Don't worry. The other daughter said, rip it out. Just like one of my favorite sisters from the Cozy Up Knits podcast that I watch. She always says, rip, 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 make it how you want it. And so that's what I started to do. I've ripped out the seams. I've got an arm ripped off, and I'm going to knit it up and I'm going to make it right. I have picked a pattern. I'm very excited about this. We'll just put this down. I'm going to say this totally wrong, but it's from the Shetland Trader 2 book, Gundrun Johnston. And I've picked a sweater in here. Let me just see. I forget what it's called. Burrafirth. It's absolutely lovely. Again, this is a book that as soon as it came out, I saved up my money and I said, kids, you're not getting shoes. I'm getting this book. I'm joking. My kids actually got shoes and I also got the book. So I'm very excited to start that. I'm hoping to get it done for Christmas. It's going to be a Christmas present for someone. I'm not going to say who. But I do have a whole bunch of yarn here that I got from Custom Woollen Mills. It's on a cone and it is the fingerling weight here. So I'm very excited to put that together and make it look very much like that sweater. So I'm hoping that I'm going to cast on like tonight for it, and hoping that you guys will help me along with this. If I come into any problems, snafus, that you'll help me with it. So that's one goal that I really want to get into. Another goal is socks. I have never knit socks, and it is a huge thing out there in the knitting world. Huge. I mean, people are making box of socks where you make like 1 pair of socks per month, and so that you have like 12 socks by the end of the year, and that's awesome. I want to jump on that train too, but I don't know how to do it. A couple years ago, I did go to an Etsy made in Canada. Huge fan of Etsy, and there was these girls that were selling skeins of, it's Custom Woolen Mills again, sock yarn that they have, and it's a beautiful blue variegated color here. And they sold the skein along with, it's called Highway 22 sock pattern. They said it's their grandma's go-to pattern. She makes it for everybody, super easy. And if you're a new knitter, it'll be great. I'm going to try that. And there's another part to this. It'll come back in the acquisitions that I'll get to in just a moment about the socks. I do have to say, I am not a professional knitter. So I started knitting like 11 years ago, before my oldest was born. And the reason why I started to knit was because I wanted to knit baby toques. Because there's lots of baby toques out there, but I wanted to be my style and I wanted to be cotton. So I became a really good baby toque knitter. I used to pattern by Pearls Soho in their last minute knitted gifts. They had a baby toque in there that came in 3 different sizes, so it was perfect. And I knitted those up like crazy for all my friends, whenever they had babies, of course. So yeah, now I knit baby blankets, which takes a little bit longer, and I think I should go back to the baby toques. But again, I am not a professional knitter, but knitting does feed my soul, and it keeps me warm, and it keeps my family members warm. So that's very exciting. So socks, we are going to start that. Very exciting. Sweater, we are going to start that. Very exciting for me. Sorry, just flipping over some notes. So going along with some of the other knitting podcasts that I know, they usually have a bit of a formula. So I'm going to start that right now with finished objects. Very excited. This is a bit of a cheat. I finished this right before I started the podcast. So I thought, I can kind of put that in there. I was inspired by a podcast that I follow called Cozy Up with the Knitting Sisters. They were doing a shawl along this summer, and I hopped in right away for that. And so the ends aren't finished yet, but I made the B. Charlie. I don't know if you can see it all here with my lovely ends sticking out. Bendy arrow shawl, and I absolutely love it. It's gorgeous. It was fun to knit. I loved all the little sections, the main part and then the striping, and then you go into this crazy short row area, which was so fun to learn. It was awesome to knit. I just loved it so much. And I made it out of 2 Canadian dyers. The first one is this beautiful color here. It is the Sea Glass by Sweet Fibers. I think it's the Sweet Merino Light yarn. Absolutely lovely. And then this other yarn I have here is by, Sweet Fiber is made by Melissa, and she's out in BC. And I picked this up. I've had it in my stash for about over a year. I went to the 88 Stitches yarn shop, which Melissa's mom owns and runs. And I went in specifically for this colorway and this yarn. I'm going to be coming back and I'm going to go pick up more yarn, or I'm just going to order more from Melissa. I love her colorways so much. Absolutely beautiful, stunning. So very excited to take that out of my stash and be able to put it in this beautiful shawl, which I did enter in the shawl along that the Cozy Up sisters had, and it just closed like this weekend. And so I'm hoping that maybe I can win a prize. I hope. So the other color I used in here, absolutely stunning. I love all the little pops of so it's kind of like a sandy color, and then it has like little pops of purples and the same kind of color as the Sea Glass, and that's why I tried to put them together. Purples and blues, and some of it, like near the end, was like really dark navy blues, which I really enjoyed as well. But this is by Haven Fiber Arts, and she's here just outside of Edmonton, like I think in Beaumont. And her stuff is absolutely gorgeous as well. And Jess is her name. Lovely person. She has an Etsy shop, but she also is being carried at a new knitting store that opened here in Edmonton called the Fibre Nook. So I'm so excited. One day I have to go there and check it out. Again, dream to knit with. I loved going along and seeing all the different color pops that would come out in it. Lovely. So that's my finished object, a bit of a cheat, but I still love it, and I still have to put in the ends. I'm really sorry about that. That's horrible. On to half-finished objects, or what people like to call a hoe. Most of the time you see this with a sock, but mine is mittens. So this is a mitten that I made for my daughter Lydia. I used the pattern Waiting for Winter by Susan B. Anderson. It's basically just worked up in worsted. It's actually red heart worsted with wool. The reason why I used that is because I needed something that would be tough for them when they're out at the park and they're playing around in the sand and everything. I can just throw it in the washing machine, but it still gives them a lot of warmth. I did make my other daughter, Evelyn, a pair of mitts using some Plucky Knitter. This is like 100% wool. So I have, both of them finished there, and they're lovely and she loves them, but you can tell there's a bit of a difference there. I should have maybe gone down a needle size in this, but both girls love them. So that's a finished object, I guess. Both girls love them, and yeah, we'll get to that Unfortunately, I didn't finish this one yet because I have a son and he wanted waiting for winter mitts as well. And it's still on the needles. I told him he could pick whatever colors he wanted. And so he put together some red, some gray, and green, or I think it's cactus colorway. But yeah, he decided that that's what he wanted to do. And it's just been crazy manic around the house that I just haven't had a chance to really get down to knitting. Doing a lot of work for my husband now with his production company. The kids are off to school, but that knitting time is just, I think I have to get up in the morning and knit before everybody wakes up in the morning. Yeah. Okay. So that's my finished project, or half-finished objects that I've got going on here. Sorry, there's a bunch of stuff over here that I'm trying to just move around and get through. I do have a sidebar. I'm very excited to announce that one of our cousins just had a baby today. It's a little baby girl named Sarah. So I'm very excited that I'm going to be knitting her up a blanket. My go-to patterns is 60 quick baby blankets. There's quite a few in here that I absolutely love. Again, they use the Cascade yarns, 220 superwash and 128 superwash. But I'm using Hayfield Baby Chunky. I got this off of Love Knitting. Love that website. Absolutely awesome. They have their prices in Canadian prices if you need. And if you buy over, I think it's like a $75 or $100, you get free shipping from the UK. It's amazing. Now, the reason why I went with the Hayfield Chunky instead of like Cascades 220 is, spit up happens and you want to be able to wash that. So yes, I'm going to be casting this on right away. Baby girl born. Got to get this out to this baby right away. Oh shoot, I do have another half finished object that I wanted to show you, or my work in progress. They are some Amico. Hello, my name is an Amico crochet cats. I'm making them for a friend who just had a little baby boy, and he has two boys himself. And so I wanted to make something for the baby, but I wanted to make something for the boys as well. Yeah, I had so much to gather today for this. It can slipped my mind. I feel so bad. So next time I'll bring them out because I only have like one kind of 3/4 of the way done, and I'm not even close to even starting the other one. So lots of projects to start. We got a sweater, we had a blanket, we have crochet cats. That's all coming up next time. So we're just gonna tuck that away. Acquisitions. I'm very excited about this. This past weekend was the Knit City in Vancouver. I couldn't go, which is kind of sad, but that's okay. Next year or the year after, I'll be there. But one of the indie dyers here in Alberta put on the Prairie Fiber Festival. Melissa from Prairie Dye Studio put on this fantastic festival. It's in Lacombe, Alberta, and a lot of the dyers in the area were around. There was also some classes that you could take. Basically, you showed up, there was a seat for you, you could take the class, which is fantastic. There were people selling notions there. There were Jessie Metric, a new person that I follow a lot, selling a lot of her beautiful designs. So very excited about that. But I did grab a couple things, so I'm very excited to show you that. We've got, this is one of the first knitting bags I've ever bought for myself from Ginger Snap. And it's got like a cute little progress keeper here. Little Red Riding Hood. It's kind of like Marushka Doll's Little Red Riding Hood. And if you know me, my family is Ukrainian, and anything Marushka Doll we absolutely love. So it's a nice size bag. Inside it's got these cute little mushrooms here. Totally ties in with it. I've been putting my shawl in there, my Bendy Arrow shawl, tons of room to put a couple cakes in there, and yeah, and my project that I'm working on. Thank you so much. I absolutely love this product, and I actually did pick up a couple other things from Ginger Snap that are for Christmas presents, so we'll go into that maybe after Christmas, but I love this bag. Love this bag. Another thing that I got from the Prairie Fiber Festival was from Polka Dot Creek. And again, I got to give a shout out again to my girls at the Cozy Up Stitching Sisters. They were the ones that brought Ginger Snap into my world. And they also brought this next dyer into my world. It is Shelly from Polka Dot Creek. She lives in Airdrie, and she made this sock kit. So it's fruit cake. It's in the Christmas fruit cake, and then vanilla and toffee, so you can put those as your toes or heels or cuff if you want. And again, she sent this to one of the girls at Cozy Up with the Knitting Stitching Sisters. So I was like, oh my gosh, that's on my list. I have to get that when I'm there. And the funny thing is when I went there, I was so overwhelmed by how beautiful their yarn was. Her and her mom is Penny, and she is from Creek Garden Craft, and she makes a lot of Prima cotton yarn that she dyes. So I think it's a little time for a tea break right now. I'm just gonna grab my mug. I have my beautiful little Cozy Critter mug here, and I got it from a shop that was in town. It's no longer there, unfortunately, but I did notice, this is Oliver the Owl. I did notice that Knit Picks is now carrying these mugs, so if it's something that you're looking for, it's something that you'd like, definitely go and pick it up. And I am drinking David's tea. And one of my favorite flavors, it is the chocolate macaroon. Oh, I just drink it all the time. It's just absolutely lovely. So yes, to go back to Polka Dot Creek, Shelly, she has amazing sock kits there. So I wanted to learn how to make a sock before I use this, and I didn't want to have to frog it and mess it up and rip it out or anything like that. I just wanted to be like confident that I'm making a sock, and gonna go with that. Now my daughter and I, my oldest daughter came with me to the Prairie Fiber Festival, and she loved Penny's product, which is the Prima cotton at Creek Garden Craft. And she was like, with big saucer eyes, like Puss in Boots does in the Shrek movies. Mommy, I really, really want, you know, this colorway and that colorway from them. So Shelly and Penny, I'm going to be coming to your shop in the next month, and I'm going to be buying quite a few things from you to fill up my daughter's Christmas wish list. So yeah, I got a few more things from the Prairie Fiber Festival, but I'm going to keep those things secret for another time. We have another podcast. I'm going to try to stick to not acquiring a whole lot of yarn, but try to stick with what I have in my stash. But it's just so gorgeous. I couldn't help myself. I had to get this for myself. Yeah. Anyways, I would like to share with you, I haven't talked about, kind of run through some things really fast here, but I would like to share with you some of the podcasters that I've been really enjoying, the ones that, you know, get me excited for the end of the week to watch, or that I'm just binge watching because I'm so far behind. Like I've only been watching for about 4 months, and I'm so far behind them. So, again, number one, Cozy Up with the Stitching Sisters. Love those girls. The sisters, they work off of each other. They have little squabbles, and then they're like, oh, but I love you, and it's great. And again, they've been really inspiring. I wouldn't have knit the Bendy Arrow shawl. I wouldn't have even gone into shawls probably, because I was like, shawls? I don't want to knit a shawl. but wow, there is a movement for shawls. It is huge. And I'm loving my shawl. I have to really get those ends done in so I can start wearing it because it is getting cold in the morning. There's frost this morning, so we're gonna need that. Hey Sister podcast is another one that I've been really enjoying. Again, that was something that Cozy Up with the Stitching Sisters, they watch them. Love these sisters too. They're fantastic. I think they're from West Virginia in the United States. The projects that they work on are absolutely gorgeous as well. And the yarn, they started dyeing their own yarn. I went to their shop. It was sold out. But I really, really want some of their yarn. And I love how, you know, they have some cult classics that they like too. They like Doctor Who, so they were doing like TARDIS socks. Those are super cute. I gotta make me some of those. I'm not a huge Doctor Who fan, but who cares? They're cute socks, right? And they've been making a lot of cute hats. They had a hat along just recently that I was watching, and oh, the hats, amazing. I love toques. Sorry, girls, it's toque. Toque is a very Canadian word, and if I say it a lot, it's because I grew up with that word, and I really don't know a knitted hat as anything other than a toque. So, now because of the Hey Sister podcast, they suggested that other podcasts to watch. So I started watching Inside Number 23 with Katie. I love her. Her style is amazing. It's kind of like a retro 50s kind of style. She's also a huge Harry Potter fan. I am a huge Harry Potter fan. I got my kids into it, and now they're like over the moon with Harry Potter. Harry Potter is the best thing. But before that, they thought, what's this? Like, they didn't quite understand. They thought it was kind of a joke. But this summer, we had a Harry Potter marathon, and we watched all of them. And then there was a pop-up Harry Potter event in the city here, and it was just amazing. So I'm very happy that when I talk about Harry Potter, my kids' eyes light up and they're excited about it as me. So excited. I bought some progress keepers from a fellow Canadian on Etsy. So I got myself a snitch and then a couple others saying, I solemnly swear I'm up to no good. And after all this time, always. And once we saw I think it was Half-Blood Prince, my kids, or no, the Deathly Hollows, sorry. My kids finally understood why I wanted that progress keeper. I'll have to show them next time and who I got them from. I'm sorry about that. Anyways, I love Katie. She's absolutely awesome. I love her style. I love what she's doing. And right now I'm watching her Harry Potter along, and she's making a Weasley sweater for herself. Outstanding. Yet another reason why I wanted to tear out this sweater and make it right, you know, just make it right, make it for something that someone will actually wear and not tuck away and be like, oh. Anyways, so Pinfeathers and Purls, Candace in Calgary. I love her. She's got a great energy about her. Her knitting is phenomenal and like flawless, it seems. The projects she comes up with to complete are fantastic. And she started on the sock thing as well. So I got to get on those socks. Socks are important. We've also got Eric from Sticks and Twine, Katie and Candace. Really enjoy him. And I'm like, hey, I got to check this guy out. First of all, it's a guy knitter. Awesome. I love that. I love seeing the guy's perspective on what colors he uses, what patterns he chooses, and what he finds interesting. I love knitting for other people. So I find it hard to knit for my husband. He's like, no, I don't want that. But I did find one project, which I'm very excited about. I do have it kind of over here on the side. Let me just reach out and I'll get it. It's still on the knitting needles, so it's kind of a half project. But I think when I was pregnant with our first child, Evelyn, I made Kevin this humongous, my husband's Kevin, a humongous scarf that you could drape around and round and round. Well, he was like, it's kind of too tall and it's kind of hard and I don't really like it. Well, since then, he's really started doing a lot of hunting and fishing shows where he's outside and he's decided, let's cut that scarf. and sew it up so it goes around like a nice cozy cowl. And I was like, great, that's fine. He's like, can you knit me another one? And this has been like, it's been 11 years later since I've knit this for him. And I don't know what the pattern is at all. And I was racking my brains. It took me 2 months to finally track down a pattern that was similar to what he had. And it was a toque pattern. And I kind of adapted it to be a cowl. And now I knit it in a long piece. And it's on, I can't even remember what it's called, but it's a cast on that has live stitches, provisional cast on, pardon me, provisional, so I can end up putting it back together. So I'm knitting some of these for his show, so he can sell some of these on his website, and it's from thewildshop.ca is his shop. So I kind of feel like it's my first pattern that I hacked and made my own, and I'm very excited about it. And I am knitting it on my Knit Picks interchangeable needle, 10.5 US and 6.5 millimeter. And I'm using some big, I don't remember what it's called at all, but it's kind of like roving almost ply from Custom Woollen Mills. So it's very sheepy, it's undyed, it's actually very beautiful. So yeah, Eric, Sticks and Twine, go check him out. It's really interesting to see his take on knitting, and I love it. I like seeing the different views that you see with all these different podcasters. Last, I have the Grocery Girls, another Edmonton podcasters. Again, these are sisters again. I have something about sisters, I guess. I never had a sister, so maybe I just like the interaction that they have. So yeah, the Tracy and, oh gosh, Jody, who also is Mrs. Brown's Bags, beautiful bags that she has in an Etsy shop. I like how they play off each other, and they get so excited about all the knitting, and how they cover a lot of material in their show. Bring up a lot of dyers in Edmonton that I've never heard of, in Edmonton and within Canada that I've never heard of before, and very interesting. Again, they cover a lot of material. So, phew, that was a lot for my first episode. I hope I didn't bore anyone out there. I hope I got you inspired to go out and check out some of the products that Canadian dyers that we have, or bag makers. Definitely go check out Polka Dot Creek and her mom Penny. Oh gosh, now I'm missing her name right now. Creek Garden Craft. Beautiful yarn that they have there. I'm going to try, I think, every time to bring forward one of the indie dyers in Alberta, because my mind is blown that there's so many ladies out there that are doing this. And their colorways are just amazing. So next week I'll have another indie dyer to share with you, and maybe some other podcasters that I've really been enjoying. Oh, I must mention there's one more podcaster, love her to death. Oh, I don't know how she escaped this. A Little Bobbins. She's in the UK. Danny. Love her. I could listen to her for hours. Her accent is absolutely gorgeous, and she's just a sweet lady, and beautiful projects that she works on. So yeah, that was a lot to cover in my first one. I hope you enjoyed it. Do like and subscribe down below. I will get a Ravelry group up right away. You can find me on Instagram as, I'm going to change my name. It was Pam Kossowan before, but now it's going to be just Pam. So it's going to be easier to find. There will be some family life in there, and there will be some knitting in there, but I will try to keep as much knitting in there as I can, as I'm trying to find that's going to be more of my focus right now. So many things. So do like and subscribe. Hopefully we'll be back, and we'll spend some more time next week just chatting about knitting, drinking some tea, and having some fun. So see you next week. Bye.